Both the American and French revolutions occurred in the sign of Aquarius on the outer wheel, ruled by Uranus, the planet of revolution, rebellion, breaking with tradition, and out of the blue events. It's interesting to point out that Uranus has an 84-year orbiting cycle around the Sun, and every time it comes back round to a particular position, major wars break out. During the 19th century, United Freemasonry grew interwoven with influential circles within the British Empire and international Jewish finance. Anglicans, Protestants and Jews had common objectives within this new alliance: to see the expansion of their future aspirations at the expense of the old Holy Roman Empire. They would essentially use their influence through politics, business and finance to steer the world towards unification under their control. They had to tread carefully by slowly eating away at the Catholic Church's hold over communities. They didn't want popular uprisings to occur, which could threaten their delicate plans. They wanted slow assimilation of Catholic communities to be socially engineered towards modern globalization. Napoleon had shown that there was no better way other than war to alter the direction of human society, and to make the changes necessary for globalization, wars had to be fomented in various strategic places around the world. In 1884, Pope Leo XIII, aware of this new threat to Roman Catholicism, made a statement. Today, evildoers all seem allied in a tremendous effort inspired by and with the help of a society powerfully organized and widely spread over the world. It is a society of Freemasons. In fact, those people no longer even try to dissimulate their intentions, but they actually challenge each other's audacity in order to assail God's august majesty. It is now publicly and overtly that they undertake to ruin the Holy Church, so as to succeed, if it is possible, in the complete dispossession of Christian nations of all the gifts they owe to our Saviour Jesus Christ. As a result, in the space of a century and a half, the sect of the Freemasons has made incredible progress, making use at the same time of audacity and cunning. Masonry has invaded all the ranks of social hierarchy, and in the modern states it has begun to seize a power which is almost equivalent to sovereignty. After World War I, the Holy Roman Empire had to figure out a way of getting their business back. Most democracies in the West had been infiltrated by members of the Masonic order and international finance. The only way they could see a quick solution was to promote various forms of dictatorships. They started close to home in Rome. Benito Mussolini took control of Italy after his march on Rome in October 1922. The same year a new pope had been appointed. The two men came to depend on each other. The dictator needed Catholic support, and Pope Pius XI relied on Mussolini to help restore the Church's power in Italy. Spain followed suit. In 1931, an anti-Catholic Republican government came to power. They secularized education and prohibited religious education in schools. They also turned over all Church's property to the state. This, among other things, helped trigger the Spanish Civil War, a brutal war between the legitimately elected Republican government and nationalist dictator Francisco Franco, who saw it as a new crusade. After the Spanish Civil War, the close association between Franco's nationalists and the Church legitimized the dictatorship, which in turn restored the Church's former privileges. South America, predominantly Roman Catholic, was awash with dictators of all kinds of persuasions, all batting for the Catholic Church. Central Europe was also very much Catholic. trying to keep itself together under the growing threat of Masonic infiltration. In 1933, the National Socialists came to power in Germany, led by Adolf Hitler. Their new revolution tried to free themselves from all forms of old control. They had Freemasons to the west, Bolsheviks to the east, and the Holy Roman Empire to the south. Hitler believed he was surrounded and trusted no one. Although he signed a concordat with the Pope in 1933 to help legitimize his dictatorship, he would later renege on it by throwing Catholics, Jews, and Freemasons into his labor camps. In 1934, the Reich ordered the disbandment of Freemasonry, the confiscation of its property, and the closure of all its lodges. Masons were seen as a threat to the German National Socialist Revolution. They were prohibited from participating in public service works or having any connection within the National Socialist Party. Freemasons in German concentration camps were regarded as political prisoners and were made to wear red inverted triangles. On August 8, 1935, Adolf Hitler announced a final end to all Masonic lodges throughout Germany. He published an article in a National Socialist paper accusing the Masonic Order of conspiring with international Jewry to create and control a world republic. As the war progressed, the German ban on Freemasonry applied to all occupied countries as well as nations allied with Germany. The day chosen for D-Day is significant, the liberation of Europe from German National Socialism. The Allies, an alliance between Christian Jupiter worshippers and Judaic Saturn worship, is reflected in the date of the 6th of June 1944. Saturn's day is synonymous with the number 6, and Jupiter is synonymous with the number 4. During the war, the big three leaders got together at the Tehran Conference in 1943 to plan the future of Europe. Roosevelt and Churchill were open about their Masonic membership, but like Napoleon, speculation surrounded Stalin's position. What is certain is that Lenin was a Freemason, and it would make sense to see his successor follow in his footsteps. After the defeat of Germany in August 1945, 2 atomic bombs were dropped over Japan, one on Hiroshima and one on Nagasaki, both with a significant Catholic population. The city of Nagasaki was evangelized by Jesuits in 1549 and became an important Catholic center in the Far East. The Nagasaki bomb fell on the Urakami district right in the heart of the Catholic area, killing over 35,000 people, including 70% of the 12,000 Catholics who lived there. The new President of the United States who sanctioned the bomb's use was a 33rd degree Freemason, Harry S. Truman. The official reason for dropping the bomb was questionable because Japan was already in the negotiating stages of surrendering. Truman's allegiance to Freemasonry appears to have superseded his role as president. After the war, the Masonic Alliance came away with more power than they went in with. They now had control over most of Europe and still held on to the world's reserve currency. The Americans were looking forward to putting the war behind them and moving forward. In 1961, the first and only Roman Catholic president sat in the White House. His name was John Fitzgerald Kennedy. Many people at the time voiced their concerns over this conflict of interest. By the 1960s, many people considered the Catholic Church and other religious organizations as aging institutions with limiting power. And in this new post-war modern world, religious divisions could be overlooked. Kennedy was regarded by many as one of the greatest presidents the US has ever seen, respected by the people as a progressive, forward-thinking leader. He energized and motivated the nation during his short time. Whether his Catholic background had anything other than coincidence to do with his assassination is something most of us will never know. Only those hiding behind national security and official secrets are partial to that information. Bobby Kennedy and JFK Jr. were also Roman Catholics. One thing we can be sure of was Kennedy's opposition to secret oaths and secret societies. Lyndon Johnson, who immediately took over the presidency from Kennedy, was a Freemason. So was J. Edgar Hoover and at least 3 members of the Warren Commission: Chief Justice Earl Warren, Richard Russell, and Gerald Ford. The Roman Catholic Kennedys were in the heart of Freemason territory, condemning secret societies. Not a good mix if you want to reach retirement age. It has been suspected that Freemasons have infested the Catholic Church, especially during the post-World War II era, even suspecting them of being involved in the death of Pope John Paul I in 1978. The new Pope was only 33 days into his new role when he was found dead in his bed. If Masons have infested the Vatican to the point at which it is no longer independent, their ability to oppose the spread of Masonic power and its version of globalization has finally been neutralized. As a result, the Roman Catholic Church has opened its doors to a variety of internal divisions, which most likely would have been resisted before. The Masonic takeover could explain Tony Blair's recent conversion to Catholicism. He is now on safe territory, and it's also beneficial to his public relations campaign when seeking the job of Master of the Universe. His new Catholic status could bring him 2 billion new supporters.